presenting on Industry 4.0 and 5.0, strategic landscape focusing on key technologies, trends, and transformation impact for manufacturing. Okay, there will be a slight change, right? We'll allow Mr. Ricky to go first, right? Mr. Ricky will be presenting on Agile, Lean, and ESG for digital strategy, focusing on integration of modern leadership and sustainability practices in transformation initiatives, right? Without further ado, let us welcome Mr. Ricky together. Mr. Ricky, will you please?
Okay, thank you. Okay, let me share my presentation slides. Okay, so I should proceed, right, Roy? Right? I should proceed my presentation, right?
Yes, please.
Okay,
Mr. Ricky.
good. Let me share my presentation first. Okay. All right. Can you see my presentation?
Yes, we can see, but it's in
okay.
Yes.
Good. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the introduction. So I will spend about 20 minutes or 25 to actually gain the awareness about the topic that I will be presenting today.
Mr. Ricky,
yes.
Can you please on the camera? Thank you.
Sorry. Wait, camera. All right, can you see me?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Sorry about that.
Okay. Yeah, selamat petang.
All right, selamat petang. So, ESG...
Biasalah, kenapa? Dia nak cakap sama saya.
Okay, so we're talking about ESG revolution. It's my topic today. So, welcome to the ESG revolution. ESG stands for environmental, social, and governance. It's become very hot topic today. More and more countries and nations are actually imposing to be not an option, to be require compliance and reporting for ESG. So we want to take this opportunity to share with you the integration or the leverage of Industry 4.0 technology into ESG. So sometimes we call it ESG 4.0. So what that this ESG 4.0 or the new ESG revolution means? It means using real-time data to track and reduce your carbon emission and embedding ESG into your business processes, your business model, into your supply chain. Not doing a reactive way, doing a proactive and put it as a proactive manner into your business process, into your business model, into your supply chain. And also, we want to leverage AI and analytics to predict and improve sustainability outcomes. So ESG used to be once a year, we're reporting, but ESG revolution or ESG 4.0 is a continuous improvement. So not only we need to capture the metrics for ESG, we want to improve it, the performance of ESG and so forth. And turning this ESG from reactive into a proactive, which I mentioned. So let's move on. Okay. So I want to bring three key takeaways today. First is why ESG? Why do Malaysia companies, especially SME, small and medium enterprise manufacturing companies, need to go embrace ESG? Second key takeaway would be what is ESG 4.0, as I mentioned, how we actually integrate the latest digital technologies, to help us to do ESG. So ESG technology enable, and more importantly, is data-driven ESG strategic approach. And the last is how we actually continue monitor the ESG reporting, ESG principle, continue to improve the ESG performance. For example, your carbon emission, need to be reduced over the years. Your energy efficiency need to be more effective, more efficient. Okay, so why Malaysian company need to embrace ESG? I think very important is that we need to access to the global markets. Also, second reason, a lot of SME are part of the supply chain. So we given a pressure from the big companies, your big customer, that if you don't do ESG reporting, you don't do ESG sustainability, you are not be part of the team, or you will not have the contract continue. So we need to continue with business with large corporation. We given pressure to compliance with ESG. As so Malaysia, ESG is a passport to go outside Malaysia. You want to sell it to our Malaysia top trading partners like EU, Western countries, you need to be ESG standard, ESG compliance. So if you don't have ESG, doesn't matter whether you are public listed or big company, you need to comply. So the two main reasons why Malaysian company, especially SME or the mid-tier companies, they need to do this because of these two main reasons. Other than that, I want to share with you today that we can actually use USC changing transition from a burden into a business advantage. We want to take this ESG. ESG is not after, if you can go with me, ESG is not just a burden or just do a once a year reporting. We actually can use this as a business, turn this to a business advantage to improve your efficiency and do cost saving. And your end-to-end process, your machine efficiency become leaner and cleaner process, and you achieve killing two birds in one stone. You got an ESG compliance, ESG performance, and also at the same time, your efficiency, your operational, your costs has been reduced. Another reason why people go there is Malaysia. Every country is imposing to have this. Sooner or later, it's going to be a mandatory. It's not just an option. Like Malaysia, we do have a carbon neutrality goal by 2050, net zero carbon emission. So governments are encouraging all the companies, big or small, all kinds of industry to actually do ESG and give a lot of incentive, tax benefit. And these bank and all this giving a lot of loans and a lot of grants to encourage people to go with ESG practices. So, and also another reason is that you attract a lot of young talent, people who want to work with a company who are actually ESG compliant and so forth. And also get ready before the countries or, getting tougher and tougher on the ESG regulation. Okay, so let's look at, for some people who are not still familiar with ESG, as I mentioned, environmental, social, and governance, just have a quick refresh. What is E? E is actually environmental. I think that is the main dimension of the ESG. So it's protecting our planet. So how much carbon a company can emit to our atmosphere, and how we're going to reduce the carbons or the greenhouse gases and so forth. Then we also heard about scope 1, scope 2, scope 3 carbon emission. And that is the protocol how the standards are measured today. So we're also talking about energy, because energy, whatever you use, especially, it's actually produce emission. So we want to be efficient in our energy consumption. And at the same time, we want to change into a different renewable energy like solar, wind, and hydro energy. We want to continue design our products so the parts are recycled. Okay, stop using a lot of plastic and so forth. Reuse all these parts again. So what you need to comply actually is quite simple, quite straightforward.
Kan?
So we need to
Folder.
actually,
PC ke folder sama lah.
comply
PC.
and report your energy
Desktop
consumption,
lah.
your greenhouse gas emission. So one is energy consumption, greenhouse or carbon emission, and also your waste, okay? Your production waste, okay? And also your water usage. These are the typical that you need to report. And then coming to what is social. Social is how a company treat the people and how you engage with the society or community. Very straightforward. How we train our people, how we take care of people in working in a very safe and very healthy environment. Is our labor, practice are complying to the government's labor law and so forth, and how we engage with the society. We need to report this. Are we in the, in a different diversity group, different age group, different race, different all these things? Are we treat them now and value our customer in the different age group, different race, different ethnicity, and so forth? And last but not the least is how we actually have a good leadership to run the company ethically with integrity and transparency, and how we actually manage the risk. So now today we're talking about data governance, how to actually manage the data and cybersecurity and so forth, how we actually manage the fraud detection, anti-corruption, and all this be transparent. You see, all these are under the governance. All this we can use the latest technology to help us, even the social and the governance aspect of the ESG. Okay, let's quickly move on. Then we are talking about ESG 4.0, right? So we're talking about how we transition into a technology-enabled and data-driven this thing. Just now I mentioned, maybe you are at the ground zero. You're at the ground zero where you do a typical, reporting every year manually. You are reactive mode. You are actually not integrated in all the ESG data, and it's slow, it's static, and it's the past rather than, shaping the future. All this, probably a lot of people start from the ground zero. You need to comply and all these things. So it's a burden. So we need to change this. So we don't use technology for the sake of using technology. We also want to transition the way how we do ESG compliance. We want to make, because of the technology, affordable, accessible, and you can use it, affordably. And then why don't using this technology to change this ESG from a burden into a business advantage? So first of all, when we step up to level zero from the ground zero, we need to actually make the companies know that ESG is part of the business strategy. It's part of the business processes. So take it as an advantage. So we start putting this ESG as a KPI. So you want to put the energy consumption, we want to put carbon footprint as a KPI in our company. Okay, then you set a target, you track this is the trend, and you keep all the sustainable results. Again, ESG 4.0 is not just for changing it to a technology. Then now instead of using Excel, I'm using new technology to capture it. No, there are more to that. So we need to actually continue improving and at the same time reduce the cost. At the same time, as I say, killing two birds in one stone, you can actually gain other benefit other than ESG compliances. So we're moving from a reactive approach to a proactive approach. So we move on again at the stage one. Probably you are still using a semi-auto way of doing it, but you make sure this ESG is part of the business advantage, part of the business strategy. So when you go into 1.5 in my diagram or 2, you're slowly using all this automation coming. So we're looking at how we actually can collect this data easily and automatically, real-time collection. For example, in the first case, we need to capture the energy actual consumption, the waste consumption, the water, and the carbon emission if you can. So automate the real-time correction. If you don't have this data in digital, can never go into a higher level about data-driven ESG approach. Everyone know that we want to do a very good ML or AI-driven data is very important. So the very fundamental way to collect the data digitally, easily, automated way. So at the same time, so that's why I say we start small. We start ESG 4.0, start small, start smart, and then you build up from there. So you will probably deploy a smart device or smart meter to capture some energy data, electricity data, or even very sophisticated this sensor to capture the carbon emission if you can. So with this data, we can actually do a diagnostic. What is going on? What is our environmental impact? How much carbon we produce? How much energy actually consumed? So that is diagnostic. So from diagnostic data, you want to go into to predict what will be the risk if our energy consumption is not that effective, not that efficient, carbon emission, blah, blah, and so on. So you predict what is analysis for continuous improvement. So the aim is to reduce the carbon emission, right? And also to use the energy more efficient. So when you look at this machine, why this machine use this, more electricity than other machine, or why the process is not optimized. So you go into that to look into the diagnose what is the root cause and so forth. So I'm saying that not only to collect data, we're using this digital data collected at the foundation level to do a lot of analytic where the diagnostic and predictives will come in. Then as you move on from the data-centric, you move on to be AR-driven. So you move to the higher level, so this ESG management or ESG compliances become even smart and autonomous. Autonomous means not just automatic. Number two, we do automatic in data. Autonomous means it actually know what to do. If they actually detect your risk is higher in terms of energy consumed or carbon emission, so they not only predict, they will actually prescribe to you what you should do in terms of your business process, in terms of machine. Sometimes it's very straightforward. You need to do maintenance on the machine. Therefore, your energy consumption is more efficient. Therefore, your carbon emission is being reduced. Simple example like that. So when you come to stage 3, you actually be part of this core business process, and you actually digitalization the whole ESG. Just like when implement ERP, we want to automate your enterprise level, procure to pay, the order to cash, end-to-end process automatics, you put in ERP. When MES, you're at the shop floor, you from your production step 1 to all the way to deliver to your customer. So when we do this smart and automation step 3, we want to incorporate ESG step or ESG compliance in the end-to-end process. For example, your quality. Your quality actually is indirect affecting your ESG practices. So quality is not good, it's a waste. Waste means you use unnecessary energy, then produce consumption and produce the carbon emission, so forth. So at the end of it, we want to move from a burden. If you can choose, you can transition from a burden to a business advantage, start collecting data, the data-centric, and then have the data to go into the AI-driven kind of SG management. Okay, let's move on to, I will not spend too much time on this. This is just let us know that, when you come into this part here, it's the good framework that how we actually integrate ERP, MES, data and fourth industry revolution technology into this framework. As I mentioned, it all starts from the very fundamental level. Okay, very fundamental layer means that you will have to have end-to-end sustainable process. You use IoT to actually connect all these data. Data is very, very critical. Without data, we cannot go into the deep learning and the advanced analytic and AI portion, AI level. Okay, so there are 5 levels here, 5 elements here that we need actually consider when we do ESG. Same thing when you do MES. Okay, so the first thing is a product. From the ESG perspective, when you do ESG from the product perspective, your product design, if you can, you have to be a sustainable parts, and you buy only the recycled or standard part from your supplier. So it starts from product. Then all your machines, your production line should equate with the smart devices or IoT to collect all the data. Just earlier on I mentioned, you move from the stage 0, ground 0, stage 1, then you wanted to use smart device to collect data. For example, your energy consumed. For example, your waste. For example, your quality and so forth. Then come the process. End-to-end process has to be sustainability. Sustainability means that it does not produce a lot of carbon. It will use energy efficiency, and your quality do not produce a lot of reject and all these things. So end-to-end process has to sustainability. Not only products or part you buy from a sustainable supplier, your equipment is equipped with the latest technology to capture the actual, and then your process has to be sustainable. Your people has to be trained with sustainable process. They know why we do this because of the ESG compliance. Then environmental means how we interact with the outside, how we collect this data, the weather, and so forth. All these are very important, the 5 elements. We are sustainable, collect all the real-time data, integrate in the IoT. Then you have big data. So big data, you actually combine all these sustainable process collected from the 5 elements together with ERP and all these things. Then only when you come into the higher level, then only we can actually know what happened, why capture the environmental impact, the energy consumed, the carbon emission, and what is the impact, what is the status of machine, what is status of your quality, reject and so forth. Then from there, we will know the impact, the actual result in terms of ESG, because here we're talking about ESG. So what will happen? The cost, the root cause. Then we look at that, why the energy is the spike of the electricity is higher at a certain time, and the product has a high reject, and look into the cause and effect, the root cause. Then we predict, what will be the risk if we continue not doing these things. So you're using more energy, you're using more electricity, your carbon emission is higher. Same, all this we come into where AI can actually help you in doing that. Okay, I think that is my last slide here. Okay, quickly, in the ESG, as I say, we need to improve. So in order to improve, we need to capture, measure, and monitor the ESG performance to support the long-term business and the operational ESG compliance and so forth. So in the ESG, there one protocol called greenhouse gas scope 1, scope 2, scope 3 emission. Greenhouse gas, usually they refer to GHG. So what is the GHG scope 1? GHG scope 1 emission is a direct carbon emission or greenhouse gas from the sources that you own or controlled by the company. For example, the vehicle owned by you, okay, is a direct greenhouse gas emission. You control it, you own it, or this thing. Your furnace in your company, you burn something, your furnace or your boiler, and let's say that your chemical manufacturing, your chemical process directly come out a carbon emission. That is a direct scope 1 emission. So you own it, you can control the process and the emission of this thing. That is called a scope 1 emission. So the purpose in the ESG compliance is that you need to reduce the greenhouse gas emission, and then you continue improve it, and the target, just like I mentioned, Malaysia 2050, to get a net zero target. So technology can help you, as I mentioned just now. We use sensor or smart device to actually capture the greenhouse gas emission. Actually, you don't start with the sensor to capture the greenhouse gas output could be very expensive, but normally we start off with the the electricity consumption. With the electricity consumption, we multiply a factor, then we can actually have a theoretically, carbon emission this thing. Okay, so you start, using the devices and using whatever technology to help you to first thing you need to track the ESG real-time data. Therefore, you can do a ESG automatic reporting. So continuous improvement that you can use AI, predictive analytics, or of course you need data, then you have a digital twin to simulate, look at your end-to-end process so that you can optimize your carbon footprint. A lot of times we are not just looking at your carbon emission, we have to look at the whole process, the machine, the way, other production parameter, the machine, the equipments, machine may be due for maintenance or machine is too old and therefore it will use up more energy, more electricity, therefore more carbon emission. Okay, then you come to greenhouse gas scope 2 emission. What is scope 2 emission? Scope 2 is indirect as compared to scope 1 is that you don't own the things. Usually it's purchased electricity. So it's that you use a purchased electricity to power your plant, to power your machine, to produce your production, to produce your product, but you are accountable for the emission of these things. So that is indirect this thing. So we encourage not to use too much electricity and so forth. So therefore, the way to do that, the initiative is to track the energy consumption. Not only electricity, but most of the time when we're talking about GHG scope 2 emission, we're talking about electricity. And you can also wanted to capture the consumption of water, your material waste, and your material. Material is too excessive, too much reject is not good. You track the real-time data of all these things, electricity, water, waste, and material. Then you use the, analytic to actually compute the variances. Because in ERP, we have BOM and routing, we can able to compute how much electricity you need theoretically desire or target to produce these products and output. So then actually, if you have a device to actually capture the actual electricity used per machine. So with that work order in the MES, you can actually know how much actual electricity used and the theoretical electricity compare the variances per machine, per product. So with that, we will actually need that kind of data to actually improve. So Lean is a good principle, a methodology to help you to identify which area, which process doesn't add value to the energy usage. You use a lot of energy, but it doesn't add. So we go for end to end. Then we also look at some other things. Overproduction is not good in Lean. So therefore, we need to actually look into that and also reduce the reject, the defect, and so forth. So not only we using Industry 4.0, first you must capture data, you use predictive analytics, you use analytics to find the variances, and then also use Lean methodology to identify the end-to-end process. And then Agile will actually, since this thing cannot improve, we cannot improve from today, for your energy, consumptions, efficiency reduce, 100%, or we need step by step, small chunk, little by little, so we use Agile to help us to do a small feedback, look at our energy and set a small target over the time. And I say again, ESG or ESG 4.0 is a continual improvement, just like the lean principle. So therefore, we need to experience and all these things. Okay, so optimization, and when you optimize your energy consumption, you will reduce your GHG emission, and therefore your cost will be reduced, your quality will be improved, your cost will be reduced. So you're turning into from a from a reactive way of ESG, I say, into a very proactive improvement, killing, a lot of birds in one stone. Okay. Last but not least, you can is the GHG scope 3 emission, which is also indirect. It's very difficult to track on this thing. It's for a company, for example, you are this Unilever, you are this big companies, you actually have to buy from your supplier, that is sustainable. So usually Unilever or Nestle, they're big. They have a big chain, value chain or supply chain. So they set up a centralized scalable ESG platform. So when they want their supplier upstream, they want the suppliers to comply. Therefore, I only buy the coffee beans from you, say Nestle or or this Unilever. So they will actually, all the suppliers will go into this cloud platform and even use blockchain to prove that they are sustainable. Their process are actually sustainable, and actually the ESG compliances and so forth. So with this, the whole supply chain in the cloud platform are transparent to Nestle, okay? And then they only buy from this green, sustainable supplier. So the design, they can use digital twin and simulation. Make sure, I think Nestle and all these big companies, they design it just how I mentioned. All their parts, all the materials are sustainable, recyclable. This thing. So this is a GHG scope 3 emission where we can use the technology and all these things here. Okay, so I think I took up much more time than 20 minutes. Sorry about that. So that is my presentation. So pass it back to you, Roy. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Mr. Xiu. Thanks for the presentation. That was very insightful.
Thank you.
So, thank you. And without delay, next we are pleased to hear from Dr. Imran, who will be sharing Industry 4.0 and 5.0 strategic landscape. Let's welcome him warmly.
Thank you very much, Mr. Roy. Let me share my screen. Can you able to see my screen? Okay.
Yes, we can see now, Dr. Imran.
Okay, that's very good afternoon. Thank you very much, Mr. Roy. My topic is driving manufacturing and excellence with data and AI and Industry 4.0, and I will also discuss about the new concept of Industry 5.0, where we are looking for more human and AI to work together in the excellence landscape for manufacturing and beyond. So little bit ourselves, we are providing technology transformation for some of our clients in terms of strategy development, AI use case implementation, AI maturity assessment, data and AI enterprise architecture, data analytics and governance consultancy, AI pilot use case development, market research, data management, center of excellence, and trainings. And the notion is one, how we can able to have an end-to-end AI transformation. But the AI prerequisite is data, and data needs to be consolidated in one single place, and the data sources are many. They can be production line, engineering, different departments, and different value chain. and how we can able to convert that data into analytics to monetize it. And then after monetization, how we can create a value impact within our organization. Usually those impact is being measured in the form of RODI, which is return of digital investment. So there are many challenges. The top 6 challenges faced by a lot of industry where I'm dealing with, which is Malaysia, Thailand, and other part of the world, is what are the supply chain disruption? Organization has to diversify and use AI to strengthen up their supply chain resilience. We witness in COVID, supply chain disruption have caused a lot of issue. And one of the important aspect of looking into resilience, how whether there is a COVID 2.0 or there are some war between two nations around any place in the world, there's an economic meltdown, how our supply chain and ecosystem can be resilient without creating a much problems. Number two, the biggest challenge is workforce shortages and skill gap. There was no LLM 2 years back. There was no AI agents 1 year back. There was no blockchain engineer 7 years back. There was no data scientist 10 years back. So every year, new things are coming in. And the new things are bringing new challenges. And then that requires new skills. So one of the challenge right now in the industry, how they can able to learn, unlearn, and relearn. For example, descriptive diagnostic analytics is a common thing right now. Going towards AI analytics, which is predictive and prescriptive. And after prescriptive, how you can use Gen AI agents to have an automated workflow. But that workflow development require upskilling, and universities are not producing. And then there's a gap between university and what university is producing and what industry is required. That brings up the third challenge, which is sustainability and ESG compliance, which Mr. Ricky have talked about, how we can able to have a energy blueprint reduction, because at the end, we have to use energy efficiently. 20 years back, we were having not many laptops. There was no tablets. People were using one phone, Nokia, for example. So there was not that much energy usage or need. But right now, we have EVs, we have two mobile, we have tablet, we have a laptop, we have so many things. So the energy demand is growing exponentially, but do we have enough resources to sustain it? And majorly the energy usage is happening in the factories and industry, how we can able to use a renewable energy. But first we need to reduce the blueprint, the carbon blueprint, the energy blueprint before we proceed with the ESG. I will not talk about that because Ricky have mentioned about that. Capital investment and ROI is very big concern because before COVID, people were investing heavily in terms of digital transformation initiative. After COVID, survival was the main priority. Or right now, if we don't move towards AI transformation, so it's like a double-edged sword. If you move it, we have to invest it. If we don't move it, we maybe get perished. So capital investment, we are having a methodology which is called MVP-based ecosystem. We are not deploying a big project. We start small with the POC and then MVP. And once we get some ecosystem value proposition creation, then we are spending more time and capital development in terms of transitions towards scalability and growth. And then after that, increasing customer expectations. So Industry 5.0, one of the important aspect, how humans and machine can work together, how we can able to have a customer-centric approach, how we will be breaking the barriers, breaking the silos to collaborate with the client. That can be internal stakeholder or external stakeholder to develop AI initiative. And Agile, which just now Ricky have mentioned, Agile is reduce the risk and also increase the compatibility and collaboration between different stakeholders. So at the end, what we are presenting bi-weekly or monthly is in alignment with what customer wants. And lastly is on the strategic alignment and challenge, how we can collaborate, improve, co-create. There's a new concept right now in which we don't buy solution on the shelf, rather than we co-create with the companies like us. What is the advantage? The ownership of the code belongs to the company. And the number two is how they, by co-creating, they can able to learn from ecosystem development, and it's more holistic and sustainable approach, because after you co-create one project, you can proceed with us or without us doing the development. So in the excellence, manufacturing excellence ecosystem, you have number one, readiness assessment, which is also called maturity assessment, in terms of understanding, do you have the right people with the right skill for the right job? And the right job is to transform your organization into end-to-end data-driven and AI. Number two, are your process manual, automated, or data-driven? Number three is how you can have an end-to-end technology landscape that will facilitate real-time ecosystem in terms of autonomous. Number four, do you have a right data infrastructure and data governance ecosystem that will help you in terms of transform and monetize data much more faster as compared to your competitor? And then also strategy development is a part of it. Once you have a maturity assessment, you understand where you are, where you should be. The second step in the maturity assessment for your manufacturing or organization excellence is to do gap analysis. What are your gaps are? How do you analyze it? And then the last part is on the roadmap implementation. You may be 3.0 in your process. You may be 2.0 in the technology. What should be the roadmap that you can become 4.0, 4.5, and 5.0? Then people transformation in terms of skills. Number two is organization transformation in terms of ESG, COE, Agile, and Lean Six Sigma towards WEF, World Economic Forum Lighthouse certification. And then after that, we are looking into R&D as a part of innovation. And that innovation has to be AI design centric, because when you innovate, you are not only solving the problem, but making it as a part of the continuous learning, continuous improvement, and continuous innovation ecosystem and cycle. And then towards AI application suite, which is more on data AI. The data will be produced by your machine, your asset, your cyber physical system, your IoT, your drones, your robotics. It has to be transferred to the cloud or hybrid cloud to save the data, to analyze the data, and then moving towards integration with the data analytics towards AI analytics. So in the bird's eye view for the industry 5.0 to from that 4.0, you need to empower people having a leadership with a human-centric approach using technology enabler. So you have at the top, you have, let me put a laser, you have at the top all those technologies, and then you have a lean practices, sustainable ESG practices, and then you are doing the AI transformation across your different departments, starting from design thinking, which is a conceptual phase where you can understand the problem better, understand the stakeholders, and also how to you can able to solve the problem in a unique fashion in an innovation manner. There are many frameworks. My favorite is Stanford and also Lyric. Lyric is one of our collaborators in Switzerland. They are moving towards digital and AI design thinking that we are providing. It has a 5-step. Number one is empathy. Number two is define. Empathy is where you listen about the stakeholder and understand their problem. You define the scope and refine the problem statement. Then the third phase is ideate, where you are brainstorming with your technology team to come up with the solutions. And number four is a digital prototype. Previously, we were using web application and also mobile application that required a lot of development to create a demo or mockup that takes a couple of weeks. But right now we are using tools like Adobe Figma that can able to minimize that time from weeks to days or even hours. So we can able to show to our client what will be the actual AI product looks like. And then we get a feedback from them and then amend it. So the week's task can be in the days, and that is the AI enable productivity increase in your ecosystem. Then we're going for the lean startup practices in terms of monetization. Agile for communication, collaboration, we are looking into 3C. Number one is to connect with the people. Number two is communicate with the people. Number three is collaborate with the people. This principle of 3C was user-centric or human-centric, but we are using the same principle for cyber physical system. We connect the asset to the cloud. We start communication between the IoT, and also the cloud. And then we are collaborating, human collaboration with the AI collaboration, which is HI, human intelligence with the AI together to make a customer-centric approach. That is the whole notion. And we are transforming. MNCs and GLCs are transforming quite much fast, but our main objective is to empower the SMEs as well, because at the end, small percentage of RODI from each department, let's say 5 to 10%, saving from one department, one use case, you may have a 10 use cases in one department, 10 multiplied by 10 is 100. So you have so many use cases. And then when you calculate the saving happen after the implementation of this technology, the value is quite high in terms of ROI or RODI. So in a factory excellence, you would like to combine people transformation, process transformation, technology transformation to make your factory smarter. And in order to have an operational excellence, those technologies can be integrated together towards a smarter ecosystem, which is data-driven and AI-enabled, that will help you increase the visibility of forecasting in terms of accuracy of your production planning. It can able to reduce the cost in terms of engineering design cost. It will reduce the inventory holding cost. Industry 3.0, your focus was to have inventory. In Industry 4.0, you are demand based. So you don't like to have a lot of inventory. So you don't need to maintain the inventory holding cost. So that's why you need to reduce the inventory. And then you need to reduce your machine downtime to increase your OEE, and then also increase the labor or workforce productivity and reduce the cost of poor quality. So when you have this monetization, it will help you to save the cost, reduce the cost of your goods, so you will have a competitive advantage in a way. So in a smart factory or in any factory, there are different technologies that are working together, integrated together. So you have a physical technologies like IoT, Internet of Things. You may have a robotics, cobot. You may have a 3D printing. Those are the physical technologies responsible for producing the data. They are also called cyber physical system. And those cyber physical system are transmitting the data towards the server and to the cloud, where cloud will save the data before it was being analyzed in the form of descriptive diagnostic analytics. And then the last part is on AI transformation, where the refined data is being fed to the AI models so they can start predicting, forecasting, prescriptive analytics, decision-making recommendation. But before we pass the data to the AI system, we must need to ensure we have a proper data governance and also data cleaning mechanism. So another part of apart from the technology is on the design-centric approach. So whenever we are implementing any AI initiative, it requires quite heavy investment. So we would like to reduce the risk, and one of the method that we are using in MNCs around the world is to use design thinking, which is customer-centric approach, iterative way, because you have the improvement cycle, and then also you have a discovery, ideation, and experimentation in collaboration with your stakeholder, which is client. The client can be your internal stakeholder, or client can be your external stakeholder in this regard. So when we start with the empathy, like I mentioned, there are many activities that we collaborate with, and then there are outcome or deliverables. So those activities and deliverables will make sure that there will be no chance of requirement changes happen during the project development. For example, in empathy, we do user interview shadow a lot. And one of the important deliverables that we have is persona and empathy map. In define phase, one of the important deliverables are CJM, which is customer journey map, where we understand the journey of a client when they want to when they are facing the problem and how we can able to reduce that. Ideally, we do the brainstorming, prioritization of affinity map is some of the important deliverables when we conduct the ideation part. And the prototype, we are usually have a digital prototype using Figma or any other tools, and experimentation is to get user feedback with the agile mechanism. In terms of digital lean as a part of a process after the design thinking, we want to make sure that the data from different sources are being saved in the cloud or on-premise server, and then they have an integration for different dashboard KPIs presentation, and using descriptive analytics, diagnostic analytics, predictive analytics, and prescriptive analytics. There are many tools for the BI. As per Gartner, the best tool for the business intelligence is Microsoft Power BI, but in many of the organizations I have seen and witnessed that they are using Spotfire, SPOT Fire as well, which are an alternative for Power BI. And when I basically would like to mention about Lean 3.0, 4.0, or 5.0, Lean 3.0 is a traditional Lean. Lean 4.0 is a digital Lean. Lean 5.0 is augmented Lean. Traditional Lean is based on Industry 3.0 principle. Digital Lean are based on the principle of Industry 4.0. And augmented Lean, which is human-centric evolution, is based on the new recent principle of Industry 5.0. So the approach for the Lean is same. The only thing is how we can have a compliance of IoT, AI, big data to enhance efficiency, transparency, and real-time decision-making, which was not visible in the traditional Lean. So the core principle for the Lean 4.0 and digital Lean as part of your manufacturing operational excellence is to have a real-time data coming from IoT, going continuously to your hybrid cloud ecosystem to pave the way for the AI decision making. And then automate that repetitive task and wasteful process means that you are not only focusing on reducing the waste of the material, but you are also focusing on the waste of the time. And that time wasting elimination is a part of a digital lean ecosystem. Number three is on the digitized workflow, where we can optimize the operation using advanced analytics. Whenever we talk about advanced analytics, it is AI analytics using machine learning and deep learning for the predictive and prescriptive analytics. So what are the key technologies which are used in the digital lean? We have industrial IoT, drones, and also cyber physical system to produce the data. We have predictive analytics using AI machine learning, digital twin, advanced analytics, and RPA. Now, quite recently, as part of augmented lean, we are also looking into how we can use large language model to create a repository private enough to be used within an organization to assist the people in terms of knowledge sharing. And there are many advantages in terms of real-time monitoring of the production planning and also operations, and also transparency through data visualization. But there are challenges because you need some investment. So my recommendation to everyone who are dealing with as a decision maker in transforming their organization, don't go big. Start small with a POC or pilot, and then scale to the MVP level, and then next scale to the project deployment level. It is called agile incremental approach. What is the advantage? Reduce risk 90%. What is the second advantage? You don't need to fork out the money on the spot. You will able to invest 20% first to see the results are good or not. If the results are not up to your expectation, you can able to either pump in a little bit more money to refine it, or you can discard the use case as a whole, so it will able to reduce the risk as well. In terms of augmented lean is a human-centric, which is also Industry 5.0, where we are using augmented reality, virtual reality, immersive technology, and also integrate the design thinking and agile process, because the goal is to have a continuous improvement. But I don't say CI. I will say CII, which is continuous improvement with innovation. That innovation has to come from data and AI. So the notion will be driving innovation using data and AI, where AI is a catalyst to speed up the process of innovation within your organization, and that require a sandbox. Sandbox you must need to have as a part of your center of excellence to drive the innovation, to have a continuous improvement culture and continuous learning culture together with the continuous innovation culture as a whole. In terms of key technologies, apart from AR, there is a callbot. So there are some things which is which can be done by humans, something that can be done by collaborative robots. So there can be a collaboration between AI and HI, which is human intelligence. There are many advantages in terms of safety, improvement of the culture, expertise, but the challenge is how we can able to integrate human and AI, especially in some part of the factories which are still at 3.0 stage. You cannot go to 5.0 unless you have implemented 4.0. And this is the Agile ecosystem, because Agile started with a team, then department, then an organization level. And then if you have a multiple Agile Scrum teams, then it is called Scrum or Scrums, or also looking into aspect of ecosystem for scalability across the whole organization. So what are the steps? I would like to, my second part, which is second last part, is in order to achieve the operational excellence and manufacturing excellence using data AI, you need to start with the maturity assessment to do gap analytics and also roadmap implementation. So there are many framework available. Fraunhofer have a framework, CD Singapore have a framework. There are many frameworks, even in Malaysia we have industry forward framework, but our framework introduced is basically looking into not only PPT, which is people process technology, but also looking into data and strategy. What are your data ecosystem and endpoints are? Because fourth industry revolution is a data driven revolution, and you need a data, refined data with the proper governance for AI. You cannot able to link people process technology directly to AI. It needs some data first. So data needs to be refined before it will be fed to the AI process or models before it will able to start monetization in the form of RODI. So strategy is important because strategy will able to ensure you don't need to spend a lot of money. You need to prioritize based on impact, based on the use cases, based on the harmonization of different value chain. And definitely in an organization, there are three core enablers. One is IT, to provide IT or technology infrastructure. Number two is human resource or human capital, to provide you the people who will be working on those initiatives. And number three, the core enabler is finance, because without money, there will be no transformation. So this ecosystem framework is quite thorough, but apart from that, you have a IT ecosystem where we have a IoT cyber physical system assessment, cloud infrastructure, data governance, quality analytics, end-to-end cyber security, because there are different requirements for cyber security end-to-end, and at the end is on the ESG compliance. But that ESG is data-driven ESG, meaning that you need to have a data-driven ESG 4.0 for your 4.0 ecosystem, for your 4.0 factory, for your 4.0 organization, for your 4.0 compliance end-to-end in this regard. And then there are outcome based on that, which is on the validation, improve cross collaboration, prioritization, enhancement, decision making, and proper roadmap. And the next is on the advanced skills, because you need a people transformation. So there are different angle in terms of horizontal and verticals. Verticals are your technology, horizontals are your departments, and then there are phases on that. So there are transformation always start from the leadership going down. So you need to have a proper skill development program for your top leaders, senior management, middle management, and then specialization. Because for AI initiative, you need IoT engineers. So you need a IoT training and skill development. You need a server or cloud development. You need a training for that. You need to have a data analytics, data management, data engineering, data science in terms of transformation, and then AI engineering, cybersecurity, and others. So you need to have different skill development ecosystem. And definitely you need a team and you need to implement. But the one important aspect that I would like to highlight for this slide, which is people transformation, is this: that no matter which training provider you will be using, no matter which platform you are using for upscaling or reskilling, you must need to do a project-based learning, which is capstone project-based. Meaning whatever you learn, apply those things in your own project and then try to scale it with the POC and MVP. In this way, you will able to have a higher productivity and then create a value when you will finish the training and bring back the mini project and scale it to a bigger project in the implementation of your organization. And that is holistic approach. In terms of process transformation, after people process, you must need to have data. Data may be in the form of Excel files, CSV, PDF, system, machines, servers. All of those data needs to be collaborated and combined together in the form of data governance phase. So you have a design thinking phase to understand the problem and the data which is part of the problem. And then what are the data parameters that you can able to use? And then ingest the data into a servers or in a one consolidation place, and then do the data governance and transformation. Transformation is where you are cleaning the data, wrangling the data, do the feature engineering towards the data monetization phase, where you are doing the descriptive analytics, diagnostic analytics, and predictive analytics towards ROI, which is return of investment. So these data is not only in IT department, the data can be in procurement, inventory, production planning, quality controls, ESH or SHE, process engineering, IT OT, HR finance, customer market, and so on. That data needs to be collaborated together in a one consolidated system so you can have a bigger picture, and then you will do the data monetization in terms of analytics. This process I will not go. So when you are doing those analytics, so you will be having 3 levels of dashboard, your top level executive management, you have a middle management and operational level. So top level is more strategic, middle management is on KPI base, and operation levels are on the operation side in terms of leveraging. So that is your data monetization roadmap. And that roadmap will able to help you in terms of hindsight, which is on the descriptive analytics, insight, which is diagnostic analytics. Hindsight is what happened in the past, and diagnostic analytics, insight mean why it happened in the past, which is on insight. Using AI-enabled forecasting, which is predictive analytics, it's called foresight. And then for prescriptive analytics, it's called right sight. So we don't use the word descriptive, diagnostic, predictive much in terms of more on the leadership way. We do hindsight, insight, foresight, and right sight. And definitely those have an impact. That impact needs to be measured because it's a quantitative approach. And that measurement will be in the form of RODI, which is return of digital investment. And that is the way for us to save the cost, increase the optimization of the process, and also increase the productivity. And those savings are your return of investment. And then the KPIs from those departments, you will be drafting, for example, different visualization company in this regard. Okay, so that is your process transformation. So in a bird's eye view, it will be like starting from the use case selection until the transformation phase for at least descriptive and predictive analytics for your dashboard in this regard. Lastly is on the AI solutions. So in terms of having an operational excellence in your manufacturing ecosystem, you must need to have an end-to-end transformation that can be upgrading your legacy machines, for example, into digital and connected machines. You need to have a defect detection. You need to increase the productivity, have a data monetization and transformation, and also augmented reality, which is Industry 5.0 approach. That will help you using AI powered visual inspection, will able to reduce the defect, duplicate, and others. So defect reduction will able to means that you're saving a cost. But you don't need to identify only. Identification is the first step, and then go back in the form of a traceability to understand where this defect was being caused. What was the factors? Is it a machine factor, human factor, material factor, any factor? So you can rectify to reduce the defect. And then based on the analysis, you can able to have a different ecosystem to monetize the data in terms of process, in terms of data understanding, cleansing, and AI monetization in this regard. This is one of our platform that we are basically transforming the industry to look into. And then there are different solutions and different aspect of the things. Basically, I will skip that. Last part of my presentation is moving towards Industry 5.0, for example. What is the difference between 4.0 and 5.0? 4.0 is more on digitalization, digital transformation. Your assets, connected assets needs to be connected, transformed. Cyber physical system and IoT needs to have a digital operation, so you can able to have a real-time monitoring. You need to have automation in terms of production line. You need to have a connected ecosystem, which is called hyper connected factory. And then you need to have an optimized process in terms of uh, monetization. This is 4.0. In 5.0, you need to have a human-centric approach. This human-centric approach, Industry 5.0, is inspired from Japanese Society 5.0 that mentioned that we should not kick out humans from the factory because people are essential part of an organization. So rather than we should able to find a way where human and machines can work in a harmony and collaborate together in a better ecosystem. So human-centric approach also means that when you are solving a problem, you need to have an empathy to understand the human rather than you are pushing your solutions. And then you need to have a responsible manufacturing, which is ESG compliance, and then having a collaborative technology in terms of integration, and lastly, to increase the productivity and safety of the whole ecosystem. But definitely there are some challenges in terms of Industry 4.0 ecosystem and Industry 5.0 ecosystem. So Industry 4.0 or 5.0, let's compare that. Technology advancement, every single day new things are coming. Every single day AI has been improving. So it's difficult to cope up with the advancement and also integration because whatever is relevant today may be obsolete tomorrow. So how we can able to have a better ROI. So Industry 4.0 focus on solutions and ROI. Industry 5.0 does not negate 4.0, but on top of it, also look into collaborative technology and mass customization. In terms of people transformation, which is workforce transformation and skill development, we are looking into performance improvement. But in 5.0, we are looking into productivity improvement along with the safety of the workplace. And then in terms of data management and ethics, data quality and security is a focal point for 4.0. But in 5.0, data transparency and also access control. Sustainable, responsible manufacturing over here is more looking into sustainability in terms of vision and mission. But in 5.0, focus is on data-driven ESG, which is one step behind AI-driven ESG. Security and regulatory compliance, dedicated governance in terms of transformation, and also compliance in terms of ethics. AI is having an issue in terms of ethics, how we can control AI, how we can be able to have a proper compliance of AI ecosystem, how we can able to draw a boundary around AI that it will not able to make human obsolete. So that is one of the debatable thing right now happening, that many of the jobs are basically getting obsolete. The amount of the AI transforming the different organization by eating up the jobs, and you compare this with the amount of the people learning, relearning, and transforming the ecosystem. So there is a lot of difference. So there is a notion that there will be a compliance implemented by the government. So if I ask you one question and one question only, which country in the world have a more robot than human ratio? I mean, in a factory, there are more machines than human, and you will be surprised that it is number one, South Korea. Number two is not China, not Japan, but Singapore. Okay, so with that kind of an ecosystem, we cannot able to look into aspect of Grab driver, being a Grab driver or influencer. We have to fight with the AI ecosystem to be relevant. And at this moment, we don't understand clearly how much time it will take where AI will be doing everything. And that brings me to the most important point of this slide, which is culture and organization change management. That is more on innovation, but also in a CI, which is continuous improvement. Now, People may be saying that AI is not creative. Okay, today is not. What about tomorrow? We never know. So if AI become creative, then how? How we can able to compare ourselves and how we can able to transform and compete with others? That is one of the $1 million question that is in my mind every single day. So those impact from 4.0, which is impact of high industry maturity and impact of mitigation strategy, we're able to have improvement and benefit across all of the use cases in any organization. So AI can able to assist, facilitate, but at the same time, we need to draw a boundary where we need to also upskill and reskill humans so they can able to have a human-centric approach through Industry 5.0. Industry 4.0 is kicking out people from the factory, and they are having a notion called light out factory, a factory without lights. Human needs light. Machine does not need light. So if there's a factory without light, this means that there is no human inside the factory. Industry 5.0 is bringing the people back. But which people, which workforce that have high skills, skills with data literacy, AI literacy, and implementation. Previously, 5 years back, we were thinking about data science, AI engineering, everything should be belongs to IT and IT only. But right now, that notion is failed. So we are moving towards data literacy end to end because everyone in every department needs to understand the data and monetize it because they are the subject matter expert of that particular area. So my final slide is on the Lighthouse certification because those initiative that you will put within your organization or in your factory in terms of excellence needs to be measured and certified. So in the world, we have Lighthouse certification. In Malaysia, there are 2 companies with that certification. Globally, there are about 175. Majority of those certification previously in the beginning in 2018, it was more European companies or European countries for having more certification because Lighthouse concept is from World Economic Forum, from US and from Europe. But you will be surprised that today, a majority of the factories who are certified are from China. So there are 175 certification. How you obtain those certification? World Economic Forum people will able to scan the factories around the world, and then they're able to understand which of the factory have successfully implemented technologies to monetize the data and have a ROI, and what was the ROI in the impactful in terms of their ecosystem of supply chain, and then they will do the auditing and they give you certification. So there are 170 plus. In Malaysia, there are 2 companies having a certification. Actually, 3. Number 1 is WD, Western Digital, SanDisk, and number 3, quite recently, is Agile Technologies in Pulau Pinang that received the certification, Lighthouse certification in this regard. So moving forward, when we are moving towards the certification, you have a KPIs, and those KPIs can be productivity, sustainability, agility, speed to market, and customization. So there's an impact of applying those technology. I don't advocate that you will able to transform the whole factory and make it light out factory rather than I will suggest to make it lighthouse factory where it can serve as a beacon for other factory to follow in your footstep towards AI transformation where humans and machines, human intelligence and AI, artificial intelligence will be working together. So with that said, I would like to extend my sincere thanks to the organizers and also moderator, Mr. Roy. I hope I didn't take up much time. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Doctor. That was a lot of mind-blowing information. We are overwhelmed, right? And then I also like to thank both of the for the engaging presentation. Now, Doctor, would you don't mind? We have a few minutes left. Just like to pose some question, right? To see you can spark some conversation. So nowadays, in the industry itself, in the market itself, uh, people are saying that I have ERP system. get to IR 4.0, and then how do they take the full advantage of IR 4.0?
Mr. Ricky would like to go first, or should I go first?
You can go first, Dr. Imran. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Roy, can you please repeat the question again quickly?
Yes, I was saying that if a company says that, or factory says that they have an ERP system or certain software in their premise, does that mean they're already IR 4.0?
No, they are 3.0 because it has to be data driven. Data driven means that for every department, they need to have analytics for decision making. So they can start with the integration of the data monetization, and then they are making a decision based on the data analytics. So the first phase is on the descriptive and diagnostic analytics, meaning that whether they are HR, engineering, production planning, QA, QC, all of the visibility of what is happening or what had happened in the past, it has to be in the form of analytics dashboard for them to understand the ecosystem better. This is the first step through descriptive analytics, which is hindsight, and diagnostic analytics, which is insight. Then second step is to have a forecasting, meaning they can able to have a forecast what can happen tomorrow, day after tomorrow, this week, next week, at least 1 month, and couple of months, for example. That is forecasting. Second step. Next step is on prescriptive analytics, where system is giving them recommendation. The next step is augmented analytics, where they are making, means AI is making decisions, not only decision, but also the implementation and action on their behalf. If they have until predictive or prescriptive analytics, then they are industry 4.0. So for prescriptive analytics, they require predictive analytics. Predictive analytics prerequisite is descriptive and diagnostic analytics. And for the smart factory, it's not only on one department, it has to be end-to-end department. So ERP is just one of the pillar for industry 3.0. But data-driven ecosystem require more, not only in terms of decision, but also of prediction forecasting. So, okay, this is my take on that.
Thank you, Doctor. Wow, that's clear things up a bit here and there because most of the time the market is a bit confused. So next onwards, I like to throw the opportunity to the audience. Right? Would you have any question that you like to ask? Don't mind, you can speak into the chat itself. Anyone? Okay.
I think I would like to add something. For example, I have come across many of the factories, SMEs, GLCs, MNCs. Transformation journey does not require heavy investment. You can still start with a small POC or MVP first. There is a notion that you require millions of ringgits or US dollars to do the implementation end to end. Yes, it is true, but you don't need to fork out that much amount of money in your first phase. Maybe you have 20 or 50 phases. So it all starts with a small thing first. So they can be for the SMEs, which are for manufacturing and manufacturing services. You can able to leverage a grant from government, especially in which is called readiness assessment grant, in which they will able to sponsor the readiness assessment and create a report out of it. It will be quite beneficial. Or if you want to engage us, we can do the pre-assessment readiness assessment free of cost to make you understand what are your strengths are, what are your weaknesses, and what will be your gap analysis, of course. So please do not think that you need to have a lot of high investment. Actually, you can think big and start small. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. And I guess there's one quick question that I think we can entertain, like from Angel. She's asking what is recommended certificate for ESG? Would Ricky want to take that up? Mr. Ricky?
Okay. Yes, sure. So the question is, what is the recommended certificate for ESG, right? So in Malaysia, there is exclusive companies, authorized by Malaysia governments that help you to certify that you want to actually comply with ESG. Say, therefore, you need to actually, answer a lot of questions, and then, your objective, your all these things, your company, blah, blah, all these things. With that, the companies, it's just like, audit companies, they will come and certify you. Then you will start to collect data for the compliances, So they are not just on the environmental, they are also on social, which is people, and also on governance. With that, you also need to comply to a certain industry or body. Then they will come in and certify again. Then they will certify you. With that, you can actually use it to actually show it or prove it to your customer or to your when you want to export into this export market. So there are companies who do this authorized by the authority. So if we need more information, just contact Datalytica. I will provide the person or the companies who do the certification. Okay. So you don't just certify like that. You need to do a lot of things, to be certified. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. My
Thank you, Mr.
add
Ricky.
is, well, I have a basically for Miss Angel mentioned about recommended. I'm not sure Miss Angel is from which sector, but for the manufacturing, the local certification which is very recognized even outside of Malaysia is SIRIM. So SIRIM is basically providing a certification for the ESG. Okay, it is developed by SIRIM QAS International. Maybe you can check on that if you are for manufacturing. Okay. But in terms of global, I think there are many ISO certification, GRI, CDP as well. But if you would like to go for the local Malaysian manufacturing, I think SIRIM is doing wonderful work, not only in terms of certification, but also compliance. For all of the IoT ecosystem manufacturing, they are also certifying them. So SIRIM certification is quite much authentic as well. Just to add, thank you.
Oh, thank you, Doctor, again. So there's one more question. Should we take it like Jean is asking if there's any grant to apply for factory production software? Just a quick one, Doctor.
Okay, there are some grants, so it depends where you are. Mostly, definitely, there are federal grants. Malaysia is a wonderful place in terms of providing the ecosystem of incentives. And some of the incentives in the grant which is in Malaysia is not available in other countries around the world. Maybe you can go to the neighbors like Thailand and also Indonesia. They don't have those grant which is being provided by the government. So uh, for the manufacturing, definitely it is under MITI and MIDA, but you need to understand that there are thousands of factories fighting for those grants, so the chances may be less. Apart from that, if you are in the northern region, which is in Penang, Kedah, Perlis, or Perak, there are some grants by NCER or NCIA. So they are having a COE grant, for example, Center of Excellence grant. There are many companies, including maybe us later, that can able to help you in terms of matching. This means that matching grant will be 50% from the company and 50% from NCER, for example. So many of the grants are available. And apart from that, there are some grants and incentive available in the form of tax. And then there are also grant and incentive in the form of human capital. So for the human capital grants, Talent Corp is doing a very wonderful work in which if you are having interns, they can able to give you some incentives if you convert those interns into full-time, they will give you some intensive. And quite recently, there is another grant from AMDAC. So if you are a Malaysia digital company, then you will able to have some grants in terms of couple of months salary as well. So grants can be in the form of technology implementation, human capital, and also basically tax relief and incentives as well.
Well, thank you, Doctor. That's a good tips. I hope Jean will be able to benefit from that, and
Connect
so
with
is
us.
everybody else.
Connect with
Yes.
us, and then there is no charges for that. Connect with us, and maybe we can able to facilitate and help you in terms of not only acquiring the grant, by connecting you with different stakeholders, but facilitating you in terms of proposal development, and that will able to help you in terms of implementation. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. That will be very helpful. All right, so I guess we are time's up. We are 3 minutes after 4, and therefore I have no choice but we need to end this meeting. So on behalf of the organizing team, thank you everyone for joining us today. A heartfelt thanks to our speakers, Dr. Imran and Mr. Ricky, for sharing their valuable knowledge and perspective.
And we have
Spark
yes.
ideas and questions, and thus connection with you all. So
Okay,
please
so
stay connected with us,
so
right?
okay,
And do
so
fill in the feedback form and get your e-cert. Okay, have a nice day ahead, and thank you once again.
can we have a group photo with everyone, please?
Yes, yes, let's have a good photo.
We will request
Everyone
everyone
turn
to
on your
have
camera.
on their cameras, so we can able to have. And then for the e-certificate, there is a link. Kindly please fill up the feedback form, and then we will be sending you e-certificate ASAP, maximum by tomorrow. Ms. Rifa, can you take a photo?
Yes.
Request to everyone to on the camera.
Alright, on 1, 2, 3.
There are multiple pages. So you need to move for multiple pages. Ready? 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Over to you, Mr. Roy. Thank you.
All right, okay, thank you everyone.